Hello, hello. I am just going to quickly add Yell, and while I do that, I also want to tell you about them. So she is a sex educator and runs a really cool page called Yell the Sex Geek. And I think is one of the persons on internet who I don't know, like the internet is sleeping on them, because like they're really going to blow up, and I can just tell they're amazing. You know, when you come across profiles and you're like, how is this person like not more famous? How do they not have more followers? It's yeah, they're somewhat like that. I have I'll be fully fangirling, so you've been warned. I think they've sent me a request. I'm just going to quickly add them. And while they join, I also just want to tell you that they run this really cool coaching program. Hi, Elle.
Hi. Thanks for hyping me up.
No, not at all. I mean it. And like, that's exactly how I spoke to you the first time we spoke as well, because you are so cool. And I learned so much from you and from your page, and I really want to like grow up and become you. Although I'm sure I'm older, but you know what I mean.
I don't know if you're older. That's really sweet either way.
Or I am. And no, please, could you, before we got started on this conversation, I'd love for our audience to learn more about your pleasure practices coaching program. And yeah, there's a wait list for it. So if you could tell them about it, I think they'd be very excited too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Whoa, the phone falling. Okay, caught it. So it's a 1-month coaching program, and it's a group coaching program. So the idea is to make it more accessible financially to people, and to also, I think, for a lot of the things that we have around insecurities and thinking that we're not.
I don't know where they are. Yell, are you here? Is it my internet again? I hope it's not. Could someone let me know in the comments? Oh, I think they're back. Just gonna add them quickly.
I don't know what happened.
But you're back. You're back. I can't see you move yet, but I can hear you.
Still can't. Okay. Well, hearing's good. But basically, the idea and the premise is that we often feel alone, right? We feel like we're the only ones who don't feel good enough. We feel like we're the only ones who take a long time to orgasm. We feel like we're the only ones who can't love our bodies, or who have trouble finding pleasure. And so the intention of Pleasure Practices Body Connections is to help people find connection to their body, find connection to their sensuality, potentially to their sexuality if they're sexual people, and to just really like ground themselves in those things. And the wait list is because for the wait list, anyone who signs up is automatically entered into a raffle for a free 30-minute coaching session with me one-on-one, as well as gets to decide, because there's so much I could cover in this type of coaching program. And so the people who sign up are the ones deciding what will this one look like. And then we'll open it up to the public. But the waitlist people get to decide what will be covered.
Ooh, that is so cool. And why did you come up with this idea? Was it a little bit because of the topic that we are going to talk about today, which is how we find it very difficult to have these conversations about pleasure, whether with ourselves or whether with other people? Is that where it kind of came from?
So there's two things it came from. One was that I realized that people need support, and it came from another idea, pleasure practice around work, and being able to find joy and pleasure and create ethical and inspiring businesses. And so I wanted to launch that, but I thought, wow, before I launch that, I need to help people do the basic work of themselves, right? Before you can replicate this in your businesses with your clients and with other people, like, you need to feel good with you. And so it is related to what you're saying about like what we're going to talk about today. It's related to most of my work, right? My work is based in like validation. So
Yes. Yeah, and there's this notion that we mustn't seek validation externally at all. And I think we're kind of digressing a bit here, but I'm curious to know as to what you think about that. Because, I mean, as humans, don't we essentially seek validation, and it's absolutely okay to want that?
Yes, every time someone has interviewed me and been like, we can't seek outside validation, I'm like, yes, we can. right? It is important that you can self-validate because, of course, like that you want to be able to do that on your own. You want to find yourself valuable enough that you value you. And also we are social, just like you said. And so we literally are made to seek out other people in social groups, and we reasonably want those experiences to be positive, and we want those people to like us. And so I completely agree with you, and I'm so excited that you feel that way.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. On that note, I'm going to ask you a question which has like multiple facets to it, and I kind of meander a bit when I ask questions. So like, please feel free to cut me off at any point. So my question really is, in a culture of like so much shame around our bodies and us being constantly made to feel like we're not enough, and somehow like only a certain type of body deserves pleasure and only certain kind of people are worthy of desire, how do we have these conversations about like pleasure, whether it's with ourselves or with our partner or our partners?
So I think there's lots of things there. One is, so I would also say, in the same way that like outside validation, the other question that I feel is really common is, well, don't you need to know yourself before you can have a partner, right? And don't you need to know your body before you can have sex with someone else? Because otherwise, how are you going to tell them what you want? And I always push back against that, because I'm someone who has learned so much about my body through the people who loved and cared about me and wanted to help me find pleasure in it.
Yeah.
And so I say that there's multiple routes. One is like telling yourself that you deserve pleasure, right? Like you need to say it's that you want it to happen. But it could come in the form of masturbation. It could come in the form of things like bubble baths, like dance practices, yoga, right? So doing things that make you feel embodied. There are like different arts practices that you could do. Like you could like put paint on your body and like roll around on some big sheet of paper, right? There's all sorts of like random things you could do. But the point is, you need to explore. And so whether you're exploring with someone else or exploring with yourself, and to take away the orgasm pressure is also very common, right? Like you don't have to orgasm in your exploration. It's about like finding sensations that feel good and being open to someone, if you are in a partnership, exploring that with you. And so forgetting about like, oh, I don't want them to see this part of me, or like, what if they see my rolls or my cellulite, or just working on mindfulness practices so that you're in the moment and you're able to enjoy yourself.
Ooh, how cool. And I love this idea of it really being play, right? And us exploring in other ways. And absolutely, you're right. Like I've learned so much from my partners. And I mean, it's a lot like play as well. Like sometimes you play solo and sometimes you play a team sport, and like there's value in both, and you can learn so much about yourself and your body from both, right? I love this answer. It's so exciting for me to hear this. So do you have like any top tips for how we can maybe broach this topic with our partners? Because even the post that I shared when I was announcing this live was also about like the things that the fears that we kind of live with, right? And the ideas that, and we feel so lonely, like you said at the beginning of our conversation as well. So if you could give some, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 tips. I know this is such a ridiculous question. How can you like give one blanket universal tip? But if you had anything for us.
Yeah, and in case people didn't see it, like the things on that post were things like, I take too long to orgasm, I don't taste good, they don't like how I look, right?
Yeah.
All sorts of things. And these were true, or I orgasm too quickly, right? Because a lot of people with penises feel like they orgasm too quickly. And so one thing of communication that I think is super valuable and underrepresented is asking for the support that you need, right? And so if you feel like I know for me, right, I feel like sometimes I take too long to orgasm, and I feel like bad for my partner. I'm just like, oh my God, this is taking so long. Their arm must be so tired, whatever. And so one of the things that my partners have done in the past, and they've done this on their own, and I realized how helpful it is so I can ask in the future, they tell me that they're having fun, right? If they can start to feel my anxiety start of being like, oh no, why is this taking forever? They say, I'm enjoying this. I can keep going on forever. I love giving you pleasure. And that is so supportive in helping me come back into my pleasure.
Yeah. And
also my current partner makes sure, like if if his arm hurts, we start using a toy.
Hmm.
Right? So I know that I'm not hurting him because when he has a need, right? If, or something else hurts, right? If he has a need, then we replace the body part with something else so that we're still able to engage in sex and I'm not worried about hurting him.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is so cool. And okay, I'm very distracted by like a bunch of really weird comments in our comment section. Please back off. Let us, AFABs, queers, just have these interesting conversations with each other without you bothering us. It's really not okay. You do not have our consent to do that. So please leave. Sorry for that little rant. But no, thank you. That is a really, really interesting answer. Also because, there is so much stigma against using a toy, for instance, when we're with a partner.
Do you mind? Sorry, do you mind if, so I do not respond to DMs. I have a way to contact me for a coaching form. So the only way I respond to DMs when I do see them is to send you my coaching form or to send you the picture of me dancing saying, please don't send me DMs for free services. So yes, I apologize for interrupting you.
No, so much. We've got to do this. We've got to take up space and not feel unsafe in our own spaces. So like this person can, let me not use any expletives here. But no.
They might want services, but DMing is not the way that I respond to people.
Yeah, right? No, thank you. So no, my question to you is like, it can feel a bit insecure, let's say a toy were to be used, and a lot of people, a lot of my clients have expressed that to me. And yeah, we often have conversations around, why that is. And, if it's going to enhance the pleasure for the parties involved, then why not? And that sort of thing. But yeah, there is, again, that inadequacy, that question, am I enough, that comes up again, right, in such a situation. So how can one kind of navigate that?
Yeah, so first thing is that like toys, unless they are like AI robots, right? Artificial intelligence robots that are speaking to you and telling you nice things and cuddling you and have really soft skin. Like, other than those, sex toys don't replace humans, right? They might replace the physical mechanism of being able to experience an orgasm, but they won't kiss you, they won't cuddle you, they won't go get you water or feed you, right? And you don't get to do those things for them. And so sex toys are tools. They're assistive technology. I can't remember who said that. They're assistive technology. And they can often inspire really intense orgasms.
Right.
And they are great to use with other people because then you are creating those intense orgasms together. But you might be using a toy and then like the toy gets to handle the genital area while the mouth and the hands cover the rest of the body. Right? And so there are so many ways to incorporate. It's not just like, all right, I'm going to use a toy and you hang out over there, which is cool if you like to watch, but you get to engage together. And so it is still a social intimacy event.
Right. Absolutely. That's so cool. Oh my gosh. I'm just very excited about this conversation with you. Thank you so much for talking to me and for making the time. I know you're super busy. Did you have, I don't know, any final words before we ended the live?
Oh my God, that's so quick. Let's see. Oh man, I'm a little sleep deprived this past 2, not able to think on my own. But I've really enjoyed this and you are wonderful. So thank you for having me.
You too. No, I had the best time having this conversation with you, and I love the little rant that we did in the middle as well, and ask someone who is invading our space to back off. So thank you so much for making me feel safe and empowered to do that as well.
Excellent. Have a good one.
Okay, thank you.